Hi everyone that's joining us live, and to those of you who are catching up in your own time, my name is Bhavni with Mind, Body, Spirit, and I'm chatting to our lovely presenters who are hosting workshops with us at the end of May. Today I am joined by the wonderful Francesca Oddie, who will be hosting a workshop with us at the festival all about relationship astrology. Francesca, hey, thank you so much for joining me today and speaking to our community.
Thank you for having me. Do you know what? Do I need to put this on airplane mode? Because otherwise people are going to ring me, aren't they? No one ever
That's
rings.
very possible. Yeah, that's the way. No one ever rings, and then once they see you on a live, they start ringing to say, "Oh." So, I don't know if airplane mode is actually going to completely cut you off from the stream. So, if that's what's happened, then I shall continue to hold space. Ah, you're back. Hello.
Hi, darling.
I'm so pleased that you're joining us to chat about your workshop at the end of May. Tell us everything about it, because of course there are two words that gets everyone excited: relationship and astrology.
Yeah, relationships is why a lot of us get into astrology, I think, because you don't really, I don't know, growing up, at least probably our experience, ladies in our 30s, when we were younger, maybe I'm just speaking for myself, but self-development wasn't really a thing. But it was like when you meet someone who really turned your head and you're like, why? What is this? And how can I connect with them? How can I maximize our time together? How can I get them to notice me? What do they want? What do they like? What are they about? What am I about? And astrology tells you that. It gives you, it's like you get the manual, you're really fascinated by someone, and you can just read about them.
Wow. No, that's good, because that's the thing, because I think that's why a lot of people do come to astrology in the first place. First of all, they're learning about themselves, and then when it comes to relationship astrology, they're learning about how they relate to others. So in this workshop, it's not specifically just about romantic relationships, is it?
No.
It's relationships on the whole, or what?
Yeah, and your family, your siblings, your mates, everybody. Astrology will help you understand anybody. And so when it comes to relationships, the key is, right, you learn about yourself, and that's interesting. You can find out your sun sign, your identity, your moon sign, your emotional needs, how you appear. We'll look at your Venus and your Mars. But then it's the chemistry of the other people. And sometimes we have our perception of other people, and we can learn through other people, because sometimes we can't see ourselves clearly. Perhaps we don't see other people clearly either. But there is also this passionate desire, if you are romantically involved with someone, or someone's driving you mad, or you've got a challenging relationship or a beautiful relationship, or just a passion to understand people. What's amazing is being able to get a grip on who they fundamentally are, and then the magic, and then that's why it's come in person as well, is to have me be able to answer your questions, because there's an extensive Q&A in this. We've got 2 hours, so I like to go through the content, not rapidly, but I cover a lot of ground in quite a short space of time, because I think I like to trust people with the information. I don't want to be patronizing. I'm like, because the principles are all you've got to get. You've got to understand that Mars is action and etc., and I want to explain that. But how does Mars behave in each of the signs, and how does Venus behave in each of the signs? But then what are they going for, and what's going to bring them challenge, and what's going to bring them the spark?
And is this, when we're looking at it, are we looking at our charts in a way of how it is right now, or does it give us an overview for the whole of life? Like how when we are reading the charts and looking at it from the perspective of relationships, because we're constantly changing the things that I looked for in relationships previously, or that made sense to me, or even in my familial relationships or friend relationships, it's so much more different now that I'm in my 30s to what it had been in my early 20s.
Yeah, really good question. And I read, I think it's Brian Clark, but it might not be, but I think it's Brian Clark who says you have your birth chart, and your birth chart is your past, your present, and your future. I'm screen mirroring, so maybe either way, past, present, future. And it's the same chart, but because symbolism is open to interpretation, it does give space for development, because you can see the immature, undeveloped. This is how I was, this is how I am, and this is my potential. It's all three. And it's just a case of interpreting something in the same way that a rainy day in May is very different to a rainy day in December. The weather app will say rain, and yeah, okay, I'll say the temperature, but we have an understanding that it's different
Right.
at different seasons.
I always love talking to you about this stuff, Francesca. I love your content on social. I love how you explain it, because you know, from the last few years of us working together, I don't know very much, but I'm very trusting of the people that I choose to absorb information from, especially when it comes to this sort of stuff. And you always explain it in such a way that makes me think, oh yeah, I get it, and it feels not so daunting. Yeah, but not in a way that would ever make me dream of actually going into it, because there's so many things that we can go into, you know. So I'm just like, I'm just going to trust what this person's going to say, and I think that's what I really love about what you do and what you bring to the whole field, to the whole genre, is about how you communicate that to people and make it feel really easy to understand. And people,
I love to.
No, of course.
And I've really realized
that's the thing, you really teach it, right?
Yeah. And I think the past year, you know, there's so many things. When I decided I wanted to be an astrologer, I just wanted to be an astrologer. And I think, you know, I'm a Sagittarius. Sagittarius' classic job is teaching. It's like basic astrology 101. Sag likes to teach, but I really do. I feel like I'm owning that a bit more. And what I love, particularly about the in-person, is watching people like get on board with it. Maybe because people have tried learning things and everybody reads and everybody studies, but then it's hard. I actually am not self-taught. So a lot of astrologers are self-taught. I needed a teacher. I need things explaining to me. I'm not somebody, you know, some people are just genius, aren't they? And they can just do it all from the books. I need things explaining. So that's why I like to explain things to people, because I'm like, I remember you need to get this concept. And with relationships, it's just about being able to understand how different energies connect in a challenging way and in a good way. And every combination has a route to getting on, but some of those routes require a lot of perseverance and strength and stress, and some of those routes are just like, oh, you're the best, I want to hang out with you all the time route. But do we choose, you know, you can look at the map, you can take the nice scenic route, you're going to take the stress route. Some people like challenges, don't they? So they do that.
But also you don't know when you're in that process, you don't know that you're about to get onto a really challenging route until you look at it and you're like, oh gosh. And then it's almost nice to know that, okay, you're taking the challenging route with this particular, you know, constellation of person, or what you both bring to the same table, and how it might be more challenging, but then I guess it gives you a bit of a roadmap. To figure out how to navigate.
Yeah, that's exactly it. It gives you some context, because ultimately you have to do what your heart wants. You can't go, oh, I love this person, but the chart looks challenging, so I won't do it, because that's suffering for suffering's sake. That's mental. Your soul is attracted to something for a reason. And if you're attracted to something toxic, it's because your soul wants to learn something. You've got some karma or whatever, you need to go through it. And
you say that in such a nice way. Your soul wants to learn something.
It does. And we can't, I mean, particularly maybe as an astrologer, you can control and manipulate, or try to, and be like, oh, I know this person's not right for me, step away, but then you're still longing for them. And don't play games with your attraction, but you can get the astrology to understand your attraction.
So you've mentioned sun sign, moon sign, Mercury, Mars, and Venus. I'm one of those people who everyone thinks is into astrology, and I know my sun sign, and then I know what the people I like say, and I'll share that. Does everyone need to know where these planets are in their chart to come to their workshop? And if so, how much do they need to know before they come?
Now, I normally at the beginning of a workshop just get everybody to get their phones out and get the info. Because
amazing.
So you can do it now. You go on I just go put into Google birth chart calculator, and normally top of Google is Cafe Astrology, and then you put in your info. And I like the way Cafe Astrology does it, because it's written in words, it's not all symbols. So it's like moon, Cancer.
Yeah, I need that.
So and then I'll be like, right, put your phones away, because then what happens is people start looking at it and they're like that, and I'm like, right, come on, we're only here for 2 hours, put your phone away. And then I'll probably have to say that 4 or 5 times, but I will keep saying it until all the phones are away, because because, you know, it's just bringing everyone back in the room, because there is this buzz of excitement. And it means that the first 5-10 minutes of the workshop are a little bit, you know, I'm having to pull people back, but I think people are far more engaged if they're learning about themselves. And if you want to be prepared, if you're coming, then get yours and then the people that you're interested in as well, so you can make sense of it. But the main thing is that you understand the workshop as we're going through it, because then you've got a lifetime of being able to read about this stuff. You don't have to do it all in the moment. But I understand, I'm very impatient and very enthusiastic, so when I'm learning, I'm like, right,
I
do
love
it.
it. Yeah. Okay, so I love that tip that you've given for people who are already planning on coming. You're saying come with your information, but also other people's information. What do we need? Just date of birth, or do you need location and time? What do you need?
Time and place. Yeah. If you don't have time and place, or if you have place but not time, it's not the end of the world. The moon might not be right, the rising sign might not be right, but most likely Sun, Mars, Venus, Mercury, you'll get, you know, a beginner's insight into that person.
Okay, I really love that. Super exciting. I'm really excited for this workshop anyway, because I actually always do learn from you. And I feel, even though I'm saying I surrender to the experts, I think that I feel like what I have learned so far has been through your style of communicating it so clearly. So thank you. I'm excited that you're hosting a workshop with us. Now tell us, because you are so prolific on social and you do so many cool things and you share great posts and podcasts and courses and whatever, tell us, why should people be booking to join you in the room live at the festival?
Because it's the buzz. It's like, for a start, not being on the phone is a lot of people's priorities. You know, I've just done a big feedback to everybody to get an idea from my audience what they want, and there's a massive push towards getting off the phone, getting off Zoom. So that's a no-brainer. And then it's the community as well, because my community, but you know, people who like astrology, they all want to make friends. And my retreat that I did in Rome last year, everybody's like pally, they're all texting, and everybody just loved being in person. And I make it very interactive as well, because I remember everybody's stuff. So I'm like, okay, you two have got Mars and Scorpio, and everybody joins in.
You're amazing with that. I can vouch for that. Sometimes when we've spoken, you're like, oh yes, you're this. And I remember I told you in the summer of 2020 when we're all like on Zoom in our garden. So I know I can vouch that Francesca's memory is amazing.
Yeah, my memory, normally someone about an hour into an event will be like, your memory's amazing. I'm like, yeah. So it's crazy, because I am constantly logging it. So then I get people talking, because everybody's talking and everybody starts opening up. Not, you know, if you're quiet and you don't want to, you know, I don't pick people out. This isn't like Panto. I'm not here to stress you out. But I will, you know, people chat and we connect, and everybody loosens up and says, oh, but my husband or my ex-husband was a Leo and it didn't work, you know. And then everyone starts chatting and having a laugh, and I'm cracking jokes. So it's just quite fun. It's just very friendly.
Yeah, which is what it should be. I think we grew up in the generation when astrology was like, oh, very mystic and hocus pocus, and, you know, serious people telling us serious things. But once we make it fun, and we can make more space for it in our lives. Okay, yeah. Do you want to tell everyone when your workshop is, and also share perhaps a little tip that you can get people to practice before they join you live?
Okay, so my workshop is on the 27th, Saturday the 27th at 10:30 a.m. Thank you, Bethany, for telling me. And a little tip. Well, number one tip is, don't start trying to make massive decisions from a little bit of information. There's so much to it. But if you don't know your moon sign yet, because that is, your moon sign is your deepest emotional needs. It's who you were as a baby. It describes your relationship with your mother. Your moon sign, knowing that will change everything and really help you to understand what you need in a relationship. Because I'm a Sagittarius, so I grew up thinking I should be someone free and flighty and fun, and I kind of am, but my Taurus moon is who I am. It is who I am. I'm fixed. I hate change. And understanding that, my emotional body being and the fact that there's such a contrast between my sun and my moon, that information is really life-changing.
So when we read, another cheeky question, because I can always talk to you for hours on this stuff. So when we read our star signs, is it actually just as important to read our moon sign horoscope as well? And do people offer that?
I always, when I'm reading, we really should read for your rising sign, because horoscopes are written for the rising sign. That's how they're constructed. But that being said, it still works for your sun sign. I would read rising, sun, and I would have a look at moon as well.
Okay, lovely. See, lots of great tips already that you've shared with us. Thank you so much for taking the time. Those of you joining live and also in your own time, you can see the banner at the bottom with a little ticker with the link to Francesca's workshop with us. Follow the link in our bio. I'm sure it's all over Francesca's stuff as well, where you can join her in London on the 27th of May. Thank you so much for taking the time to chat to me and our community.
Thanks, Stephanie.
And we can't wait to see you. Yeah, we'll see you soon.
Bye. See you soon. Bye.